Hello everyone, so good to see you. It's October now, which means it's time for the spookiest time of year. For you, for me, and for my wallet. Seriously, have you seen how many good games are coming out this season? It's been busy lately, with gaming news, commissions and videos to work on. The weather's gotten cooler, but that hasn't stopped sites like Twitter from being on fire 24/7, or whatever you want to call it. But burning website aside, obviously the biggest titles releasing this month. Have you seen how in the last few days people have been just talking about the moon all over social media? There are groups legitimately saying that it looks closer than it did before. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That is not physically possible given the gravitational pull that the Earth has on the moon. Science. I want to say that it's just people trying to be funny for October, but there are some that have been taking it quite seriously. You know those channels that do nothing but infomercials all day long? Well, one of them started following someone who has been trying to do something about it. I I think people are willing to cling onto anything for entertainment these days. But I thought, what the heck? I wasn't doing anything this evening, so I decided to take a look. When I turned on the TV, I witnessed a boy in green running around a place called Clocktown. He was more or less saying hello, greeting people, getting to know the town. Doesn't talk much himself, but he sure is social in his own way. As the channel followed him along, I started to get a feel for life there. It looked like they were planning a festival of some kind. There were people who were busy, sure, but it looked pretty empty for a place that was going to celebrate such a huge event. And it got kind of worrisome. People who were supposed to be there have gone missing and asking others to help find them, this boy included. Others were very zeroed in on keeping with their schedule, and to the dismay of some of them, finding those plans cancelled. It seems very peaceful, but there's a sense of unease amongst them. I felt that the most when he visited the mayor of this town. The two factions were very much butting heads over the situation. One demanding that the carnival, needs to continue on. The other wants to evacuate the rest of the population. The mayor, however, remains uncertain, unmoved to take action one way or another. And I think it's because a lot of them in this room are also just dumbfounded at the prospect of the moon dropping from the sky. If this is a town tradition, why cancel it for a sudden spark of propaganda? It just makes no sense. And while these politicians are yelling at each other, life, for some, goes on like normal. Business continues selling products, performers are preparing for the carnival, people go about their day jobs, and kids are just being kids, playing and having their fun, as they should be. The boy kept running around for a while before he stopped at the inn and started to talk to the innkeeper. She was very kind and accommodating, but she looked so tired. I think the boy could tell by the look in her eyes too. And as he stayed the night at the inn, we all noticed that there were voices that could be heard from the room over. It was that same girl, presumably talking with her mother. It seems that they too were planning on leaving town to stay with one of her friends. But it seems like there might be a bit of a love triangle happening between the innkeeper's fiance, herself, and their friend. It turns out they're likely talking about the same man who went missing, the one the mayor's wife had been recruiting people to search for. He's been missing for months, and she has faith that he'll come back to her, but her mother also thinks the moon is going to crush us soon. They're both trying to stay strong for each other. We all felt kind of bad for listening in, even if somewhat unintentionally. Poor girl. Nonsense about the moon aside, I hope she'll be okay. This is all that some circles have been talking about lately. Like, just go with the carnival, guys. You're worrying about nothing. Many people in that town are also quite confident that nothing is happening. I mean, I get it. There are some people that are so vulnerable to that kind of sensationalism when more than a few people start banding together just to talk about it. But chill out. You're fine. Go about your daily business. I promise you're gonna be just fine.
Local time 12:30, and if you're listening,
He's gonna make
I'm not sure how to say this, but there's just not a lot of time left.
Funny thing happened last night. These experts started coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, you might want to start making plans right now. The moon is getting closer. And the thing is, there's a lot of people taking this to heart now. I just got off the phone with my family because guess what? They made plans to fly out to see family in Mexico and then in Japan. And they made those into one-way trips.
What do you mean you're not coming back? I'm not going. I have things I have to do here. You have to come back. No, aren't you? So you're just going to take everybody away with no plans to come back?
It's been kind of awkward to chat with everyone here lately, so I kind of just holed away myself this evening. It's been a while since I checked in on that kid running around town, so I decided to see what he was up to because apparently it matters so much that people I know are just leaving their lives behind. I don't really know what he's been up to, but he definitely isn't in that town anymore. He's in a very foresty, swampy area that's gotten super polluted. And I'm like, what exactly is this kid doing that's getting so many people's attention? Figured I might find out if I just watch a little more. He did in fact deliver meds to a senior citizen before she keeled over. What a good lad. Oh, and now he's playing with monkeys. Is this what everyone is relying on to solve our problems? Deeper into the swamp, he discovered a small civilization known as the Deku, who were quite upset. It appears that they and the monkeys are in fact experiencing great turmoil at the moment. The ruler and king of the Deku has lost their daughter to the swamp, and the blame has been placed on the missing brother of the monkeys. And the king is livid. Furious and inconsolable, he prepares to punish the monkey after tying him up. And beyond even that, it seems this entire ordeal is tied to the pollution within the swamp. But is this even fair, you might ask? There is no proof, no trial of any sort in this scenario. The ruler and his subjects are driven by their anger, their need to place the blame on someone to help alleviate their rage. There are respectable individuals here who have kept their cool heads, but it simply isn't enough to stop a tragedy from playing out. I found myself watching more intently than before, wondering if just one boy can bring justice to a community that's blinded by their own impulses. Can he accomplish that before they take it too far? I sort of don't think so. When people become enraged enough, it can drive them to do terrible things to others.
I figured I might document some more things this way. It just seems easier. I can't say I really blame the king. Losing family like that with no clear answers can really mess with your head, even just thinking about it. Man. I mean, I'm not a father, so I don't know that paternal connection, but if anything like that had ever happened to any of my sisters, there'd be problems. We are literally talking hypothetical situations, spurred because everyone is getting on edge just because they think a rock is going to fall on them. Like, is anyone making sense out there right now?
And hey, listen, kid, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're all we've got. So good luck. Win this one, will you?
Hello everyone, good to see you. You might notice it's a bit empty today on the GVG cast. Well, that's because my partners, my friends, have each made a decision. You might recall a couple of weeks ago, I decided to loosely keep updates with the moon. And it's all related. They are going to dedicate the next couple of weeks to be with their families and with their loved ones. Because if you look outside right now, you will notice the moon is It's bigger. So they might send a message here or there on Discord every now and then, but their main focus is going to be to spend as much time as they can with the ones that they love the most. And with that, I'm the last person on the channel. And I'm not exactly sure how to structure things. They kindly left the channel open for me to use as I wish, so I just am taking this opportunity to tell everyone that this will be the last video to appear on the channel. Thank you all for supporting. So I think for my own sanity, and for those who are still watching, I will continue to document my experiences here as the days turn, here on the channel. To those of you who are still out there, thank you for sticking with me.
So everyone made it all right? That's good. No, I'm fine. Just saying bye to them like that felt a lot longer than I thought it would be. I mean, if things change, just come back, you know? I'll fix things up, I'll clean things, I'll make it all look nice if you come back in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Just in case, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Take care of them.
He went to the mountains today. Apparently, the Goron race living there is experiencing some drastic climate change. It's supposed to be a fairly warm mountain, but they've been buried under a blanket of snow. Unlike the last place, their leader isn't even here. And upon further investigation, we all discovered that leader is dead. So they're all kind of in shambles right now. They're hiding away if they aren't already frozen outside. They're going hungry, they have no leadership, children are crying for their parents. It's rough to see because they seem so kind. They will clearly do anything to get their lives back, or to see their leader again, but there's not much they can do. The boy wandered around the snowy top until eventually he was looking at something that we couldn't see, and by using a special lens, we could see it too. Following this presence up all the way into the mountain's grave, we saw the spirit of that very leader. Alive? No, he had passed on, but his regrets anchored him to this world. This powerful, proud warrior pleaded and begged this small boy to help him. No one else could see him, surely this boy is special. To his dismay, clearly bringing back the dead was not possible. But then he did something, played a melody. And I can't tell what this Goron saw from my perspective, but on his face, in his eyes, there was a sense of peace, pride, a willingness to have someone else carry out their will as they finally rest. It's like he was enveloped in a dream. What was he seeing? I wish I knew.
Just went to the store. Luckily they're still open, but goodness, there's a lot of empty shelves. No bread, no toilet paper. Sound familiar? I wish it didn't. Thankfully my dad and stepmom had gotten a bunch of that stuff before they had left. I'll make do with what I have. Time to learn to cook. It makes you wonder if I did something wrong, you know? Like, do you want me to atone or something? I still have things to do, just like that leader. This isn't fair, man.
I think we should take some phone calls. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're all pulling for you. So if you're listening...
So the streets are actually really empty right now. There's usually a lot of cars here. There's an elementary school just a few blocks down. That's where my sisters go to school. So you usually see kids and their parents walking up and down the street pretty much all the time at this hour, but now it's just so empty. I wouldn't be surprised if only half of these houses still had people occupying them right now. So this wind.
He went to visit a ranch today. Very few people live here, most notable among them, a pair of sisters. One is the owner that tends to both the land and its business. It seems their parents aren't around anymore, so she's trying to be a boss, a parent, and a sister all at once. We could tell it's exhausting in getting to her, but she's doing her best to put on a strong face for her family. The little girl is carefree and independent, laying around, pretending to shoot her bow at, what, aliens? Well, I guess if you're crazy enough to think the moon is falling, there can be aliens out there too. What an imagination these kids have. Wouldn't it be nice to be a kid again, play the hero, trying to protect the cows from invaders until the sun sets, and then to find a warm dinner waiting at home? What I wouldn't give to go back in time and experience those carefree moments all over again. The owner kindly extended an offer to give him a ride back into town. While in transit, she talked a bit more about herself, her family, her business, and her friend too. It turns out the innkeeper's fiance was in fact not there. Their wedding is supposed to be on the day of the carnival. Ah, no wonder everyone's been so stressed about the wedding. And the more I observe the situation, the more I see everyone trying to just help each other out in the face of potential calamity. People committing themselves to their jobs no matter what, doing their best to distract themselves from reality just long enough to get through another day. We as people instinctively come together, taking refuge in what shelter we can find, in any roof we can shield ourselves under, no matter how paper thin. We reach out to each other when we're in doubt or when we've fallen, hoping to come across that one person who will help lift us out. And in our moments of coming to terms with despair, we still, even if to salvage only one glint of hope, turn to one another and ask with our wavering uncertainty, do you think the moon is going to fall?
I used to come back to my elementary school a lot during college. There's something comforting about this place. Just remembering how carefree we were, running around, chasing each other, trying to figure out how to talk to our crushes. My old principal, he passed away the same year that I was going to graduate from 6th grade. He was a very good man. He always made time to talk to and listen to the students, or to anyone really. He taught me and a lot of students how to play chess. And so, in a way, he taught me how to take my problems one at a time, strategically, patiently. I think I'm starting to forget those lessons. I wish I could ask him for advice right now.
At the edge of a coast, there lives a race of aquatic people known as the Zora. They too have been experiencing climate change within their ocean, which has become murky and unnatural. It looks so ominous and uninviting, with a raging storm circling a structure in the distance. Feels like somewhere you shouldn't wander around in, you know? But lo and behold, the boy just jumps into the water and sees something that none of us could. A body. It was calling for help, for anyone to help him to shore. He went to their aid, but despite those efforts, he didn't have much time left. Turns out that this Zora is a musician, and used the last of his strength to pour out his heart and soul into a song, with us as their final audience. A close friend of his, a singer in their band, just had her eggs stolen from her, the majority of them being held captive by the nearby pirates' fortress. The goal was to retrieve them, but in the process, he was so mortally wounded that he ended up here in this state. Her smile, her singing voice, it's all but left her, and caused the entirety of the domain to be roused in a state of worry. It was essentially having your unborn children stolen, after all. How could one recover from the shock after such a thing? As a final request, the singer asked this boy to recover them, for his people's sake, and for her. Just as with the Goron leader, he played a melody that soothed and melted the pain away from his face. He looked as though he was falling into a sweet dream. It turns out that this band is also attending the carnival set for Clocktown. There's a lot of people trying to prepare for it, while also trying to resolve the issue of the missing eggs at the same time. Everyone is finding it rather difficult to focus and multitask. Very much mirroring the scenario with the Goron. They too think their Zoro hero is still alive. Their hero will never come home again, and a performance that will never again sound the same, as the sweet acoustics of a guitar are flooded and washed away with the tide.
Trying a little bit of cooking tonight. Figured better late than never, right? Gotta feed my sweet tooth myself. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Jeez. There's been more of those lately. As someone who lives in California, they're very weird, like wide, wavy, unnatural. It's hard to explain. I'm not used to this at all. You know, I always thought that if I ever got to retirement, I would one day get to the backlog of all those games I missed out on when they first came out. Finally fill out that list and experience all those games that I wanted to, right? But now that we know how much time might be left, I find myself just going back to my old favorites. It's a matter of comfort, you know? I just want to play the games that made me think of better times. That might be the true meaning of escapism. What would you do?
Hey kid, I know you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. This has been a broadcast of radios. Good night, kid.
Hi Mom, how are you? Sorry I haven't gotten back to you lately. It's been a lot. Yeah, they're in Japan right now with their family. It's just been quiet. Yeah, of course. Tomorrow's fine. We can go anywhere you want. No, don't worry about that now. I've always thought you've been amazing for doing everything you could. 4 days. Yeah, I'd like to visit Grandma and Grandpa too. I'll see you in the morning then. Love you, Mama. Bye.
No one has really been able to reach out and ask what he's doing, about why he's going to all these places. Some people think he's just helping out as many people as he can before the moon falls. Others are coping and thinking that there's a greater purpose at work. But there's not much time left. All he's doing is visiting those whose time has already passed. Graveyards, deserted canyons, literal chambers of the dead. There's no life here. And yet, some of the ones that he speaks to have the most human characters out of all of them. Perhaps because they already lived out their lives, however long or short, and linger, tethered to the world of the living. Some seek answers and closure, sometimes with family or brothers in arms. Some go about their business, aiding lost souls that have already been lost to this realm. Souls that we can no longer offer aid for. Others are just begging to be put to rest, to be told it's okay, you've done enough. And in this time of always marching forward, it's okay to finally let go. To stop putting one foot in front of the other all the time. To accept that it's okay to lie down and rest. There are some who have seen things that were better left unknown. We may have been unprepared to comprehend these matters. Too young to understand death, or perhaps not willing to accept its concept in our maturing age. This is just a bad dream after all, and we always wake up from them. Don't we? We always wake up. This is just a bad dream, isn't it? But this is the world that we live in now. Skies are redder. The earth trembles and quakes. People find solace in different ways. A mother drinks to herself in a bar, drowning her despair away. A young couple decides to greet the future together, fearing nothing because they have each other. A sister decides to give her young sibling the adult beverage that she's always wanted, acknowledging her maturity. That, and it's as close to an adult as her big sister will ever see her. And she asked her to sleep in the same bed on the final night. Considering this drink has been known for its inebriating effects, well, some would call this an act of kindness, making the end as painless as possible for her. For both of them. People need people. That's just the truth of it. In times of joy, in times of crisis, we look to others to express ourselves and share those human emotions. We don't need a lot. We just need someone to be there for us. To tell us everything's going to be okay. Or to tell us, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. No matter what beautiful or terrible fate awaits. Hello everyone. If you see this, there's just about a day or so left. I checked in on the boy one more time to see, and he's in a place I've never seen before. Beautiful place. Endless fields of green. Everything glowing like it's a dream. He ran up to a single hill with a tree and started talking to these kids. They asked him profound things like, what does your face look like? What's under your mask? And are your friends really your friends? He began to run around the tree and play with the kids before speaking to a lone child in the middle. I don't know what this means. Has he stopped trying to help us? Was this boy even real? Is he already dead? Some say that before you die, you bear witness to some of the most beautiful images you've ever seen. Were we witnessing that with him? Does it even matter anymore that the moon is falling? I don't know. These are all questions I wasn't prepared to answer in the last 24 hours. And maybe they don't need to be. Sometimes you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, it's okay. You did good enough. Thank you all for keeping up with this channel for as long as you have. I hope I've helped you in some small way to come to terms with our new reality. But I think it's time for our send-off, and I like to do so with a message that I've carried in my heart for a very long time. Whenever there is a meeting, a parting is sure to follow. However, a parting need not last forever. Whether that parting be forever, or for merely for a short time, that is up to you. Well then, if you'll excuse me. So we meet again.